Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pull Focus, the cinema-based entertainment podcast where a couple of freelancers come together to talk shop. My name is Mike, and as always, I am joined by my brother in crime, the illustrious, the phenomenal, the multifaceted Mr. Robert Andrus. See, your face, you make your face look like it's in pain. Okay. Oh my God. You're killing me.
Thank you for that lovely introduction.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a wonderful introduction.
Oh man. Oh, I mean, like that just brings it right home. It really does.
Yeah, no, it kind of does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I want to give a shout out to our movie theater usher ticket taker.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't even get her name.
Oh, I did not either. Because I was so focused on what to do next, aka get a Coca-Cola.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, you have to have your needs have to be addressed. You have to make sure that you have the proper things taken care of.
I needed a Coca-Cola.
Absolutely.
But I think that she was so incredibly lovely, and she made a joke as we went in.
What was it like? Don't joke around, or like don't clown around, or whatever
she said,
was.
Don't joke around.
Oh man.
Yep.
I wish everybody talked with me like in such a friendly way as
Joker theater, whatever. Don't joke around,
dude.
She was adorable.
If any of you are in the Salt Lake City area and you want to go see a movie of any kind, shape, form, or fashion, I suggest you head on down to the local Century 16 on 33rd South. It is a lovely establishment, and apparently they're good at making people feel A-okay.
Okay.
But they couldn't do anything to help us deal with this movie that we're talking about today. Ladies and gentlemen, for your perusal here at Pull Focus, we want to bring you the most cutting edge of entertainment and anything we're capable of being able to do. Man, if this is the first time you've listened to the show, or if it's been a while since you've checked in, buckle up, because we're talking about the Joker.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Arthur, does it help to have someone to talk to?
My mother always tells me to smile and put on a happy face.
Yeah. Not helping.
She told me I had a purpose.
Oh, God.
To bring laughter and joy to the world. Hey, stop them!
Oh, dude.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
I'm drinking more wine now, Robert.
Load up.
Smile. Even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by if you smile.
So many beautiful shots in this.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So many beautiful shots in this.
And maybe tomorrow you'll find that life is still worthwhile.
What's so funny?
Dude.
Gotham has lost its way. What kind of coward would do something that cold-blooded? Someone who hides behind a mask.
Irony. Oh.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a comedy.
If you just
Disturbing, perfect,
October.
lovely. So, guys, of course, we're talking about Joker, the latest. Todd Phillips hasn't made a movie in a minute. latest Todd Phillips film.
Yeah,
and also the
idea.
latest addition to the cinematic universe of the DC properties coming out. The lovely titles we have of like, Batman and Superman, all those other good stuff. Holy crap.
Those lovely titles.
Those lovely titles.
Called what?
This is definitely a departure from the usual stuff that we would see coming out from this kind of like production line of films. It is, of course, owned, the properties are owned by DC, but they took a different twitch. Man,
you're twitching.
I am twitching. A different step in regards to how they could personify this character, the Joker. Probably one of the most legendary, if not the most legendary villain of the comic universe in a major motion picture. Headed by Todd Phillips, this was a story that centered around Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of a very damaged, very evil individual. And personally, knowing some history about, the Clown Prince and the different kind of ways in which that character has been portrayed in the past, I have found this whole thing to be a very disturbing, very dark, but very, very interesting, very, very good use of the character. I mean, we were talking in the theater, Andrus, about how throughout the entire time this movie was making us both feel very uncomfortable.
Right.
And we're going to dig into it and tell you guys why. And even though you may get the heebie-jeebies for watching it, and we can talk about the controversy that the film has brought up on social media and that kind of thing, regardless of that, personally, I think everybody should see this movie.
Oh, you think everybody should? Does that include the minors that were in the movie theater with us?
Oh, dude.
I had a problem with that. Once I saw them walk by, I'm just like...
Yeah. Well, it is rated R.
This is a very dark themed movie, so parents, due diligence.
Yeah. On one of the episodes that we were talking about... Love, Death, and Robots.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think that, it's a cartoon, it's CGI, my kids will love it, it's Shrek. Absolutely not. This is another kind of situation where this is falling into really taking the Joker character very seriously and taking seriously the
violence was pretty harsh.
It was great, which means it was terrible.
Violent, yeah. But it was realistic violence.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with like video game
Yeah,
violence.
and there weren't any like batarangs or anything going on in this movie. It was oh man, it was crazy.
It was rough.
Let's jump up a little bit and just do the Warner Brothers did provide a pretty good synopsis on IMDb. I'll just read it to you guys right now.
Go for it.
Joker centers around an origin of the iconic arch nemesis and is an original standalone story not seen before on the big screen. Todd Phillips, Todd Phillips of Hangover fame.
So due date, Hangover, old school.
Amazing.
Kind of, adult themed comedies.
But comedies. Comedies, exactly.
I guess it is the Joker. That's funny, right?
We can get into you need to stop doing that. You need to stop it. We don't have our soundboard with us on this episode.
I know.
But oh my God.
I'm going to do all the sound effects today. You're welcome, world.
The reason as to why it bothers me is because your Joker laugh is really good.
Thank you.
Anyway, Todd Phillips' exploration of Arthur Fleck, played by Joaquin Phoenix, a man disregarded by society, is not only a gritty character study, but also a broader cautionary tale. And that synopsis is really true to what this movie is trying to present. They really took the idea of this madman, this violent person, seriously, and I really love how they committed to it. We open up in, it was shot in New York, and also switching over to Canada to go to Vancouver. And
New York, New Jersey, and Quebec.
Sorry. And then we have this really incredible use of film that's reminiscent of Scorsese, with these really great mood-filled pan.
You guys, if you're a cinemaphile, is that the right?
Yeah.
Cinephile?
Yeah.
Cinemaphile?
You're right.
Okay. Watch this movie because it's beautiful.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
It is shot so beautifully.
It's a masterclass in photography.
It is so gorgeous. I mean, the grittiness, the grime, the dirt, but also it is just
so good,
stunning,
so good. The odd close-ups that come up so you can actually see what the characters are dealing with. You see the tobacco stains on Joaquin Phoenix's fingers.
Yeah, there was a lot of detail in there.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But we open up on this character who, and one of the things that I loved about this movie is that they were able to explain why he was who he was. And spoilers, guys, we're going to tell you everything about the history of this character and how they're able to explain how a laughing clown of destruction could actually be taken seriously in the real world.
Yeah, and the thing that I really liked about this is that it's set in a timeline
Totally.
that's separate enough from our world and our reality that that you can watch it and just be like transported into that world, and thankfully leave that world at the end.
Immersion was intense, and that's one thing that made it really kind of scary, was that this is really a believable tale of a fantastic, and I mean like fantastic, not just like good fantastic, but a fantasy like archetype that we've been able to establish through the years of Batman comics and Joker and all the different adaptations that have come.
Yeah, and the other thing that I appreciated about it was you get an understanding of why he is who he is.
Yeah.
But I don't think you ever really empathize or sympathize with him.
Yeah,
At
he's
least
definitely
I
a
didn't.
villain. He's definitely a villain.
I didn't, and I'm glad that was something that I came to the conclusion of at the end of it, was saying, okay, well, I'm glad that it's not a hero story. That I can connect to. It's very much I can't wait to.
They're not trying to
see him pay for the crimes that he commits.
They're not trying to make the violence or his mental illness or his depravity, and also the depravity of the people around him, softer, easier to deal with.
Yeah.
That's just really refreshing about it.
I think it just opens a lot of doors for discussions for mental health.
Yeah, totally. And Joaquin Phoenix actually did such an incredible job with this. I mean, honestly, this is Oscar contender material.
Oh, for sure.
He had a huge body.
For sure, he did a terrific job.
Great job. He had a huge body transformation. He lost a lot of weight. He's actually been speaking about like doing press for the movie about how he was hoping that the Joker could be fat because he just didn't want to go through the process of losing like the 40 some odd pounds that he had to in order to really get the character
That's
where
a
they
strong
wanted
argument.
to. Yeah.
It's a very strong argument.
But he did it, and you can see how this plays. One of the really smart things they did when it comes to that.
If you also look at all of the drawn images of the Joker,
totally,
he is rail thin.
I'm so glad you mentioned
all the way through. So if he did win that argument, I would be really confused, scratching my head, going, "Well, why is There's the heavy Thor.
Yeah.
Why do we need a heavy Joker?
Absolutely.
So
it's already made. It's estimated to be making about $55 million already.
It's gonna
blow that back. Blow that away for sure.
What was the estimated budget? Did it
estimated,
say?
Let's see here.
Budget was $55 million, and it's already worldwide gross. It's doubled that already.
Yeah,
so
right. I was reading the wrong number.
Weekend.
I was reading the wrong number. Yeah, we're recording this on the opening weekend of the film. I mean, this is just
good job, everyone.
Yeah,
go support film.
Excellent job. I want to find out where I can get the director of photography. His name.
It's up top, and then if you connect to it, so. Let me pull it up for you. So it's usually, you see the full cast right there. But one thing that I wanted to do was give a shout out to all of the amazing cast.
Yeah. Let's go through that a little bit.
Holy cow!
Obviously, we have Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Playing Arthur Fleck.
So
he was the main anchor in the film. But we're talking like Robert De Niro. We're talking Francis Conroy. We're talking Brett Cullen. We're talking
Frances Conroy is one of my favorites.
She's
American Horror Story.
So good.
She's so good at what she does.
She played Penny Fleck, Arthur's mother, a poor woman who we later find out in the film was actually a victim herself, but also was a definite. What was it? Lawrence Sher. Okay, we'll remember that. Was a definite propagator for the reason as to why he became the monster that he became. Lawrence Sher was a director of photography, and we had to go through and I know you guys are probably telling me to, Mike, slow down. Like anybody who's listening to this is saying, hey, try to find like one line of thought. And you know what? I agree with you. I'm just so excited about how this movie made me feel.
It's okay. You can jump around.
It's insane.
That's fine.
It's
insane. It's okay to jump around.
Totally.
Jump around.
Lawrence Sher, he did a really good job of when Todd Phillips was making this movie, and his production staff were getting into it and trying to make it something special. They have been quoted as saying that they were trying to make it like Taxi Driver, trying to take notes out of Scorsese's book and do what they could to try and push that, because that kind of filmmaking, that particular flavor, works really well with the environment they're pushing here, the urban environment, the grittiness, the old school stuff that pops
violent,
out.
The garbage,
violence, the filth, and this is something that they really were honorable to, I think, in the film. When you go through and you look at stills from this movie, these close-ups that come through, and they don't lose focus on the entire figure. They don't lose focus on, like I mentioned before, Joaquin Phoenix's fingertips. They don't lose focus on Robert De Niro's teeth, who plays Murray Franklin, who is like, the Johnny Carson in this universe, who inevitably brings Arthur into the big stage. And man, unfortunately, he pays for it.
If they did that intentionally. Like the set reminded me of Carson's set.
That's a good point. Yeah. Like the curtains
and even
everything.
had that. How they announced that he's got his partner in crime, so to speak, up there.
Well, I think it's definitely a nod to old filmmaking and that old style in general. This film, like, it takes place in early Gotham. It takes place when Bruce Wayne's parents are still alive and still very powerful. So if we were to relate it to anything in our universes, the time frame, I'd say like late 70s, early 80s, something like that. Yeah. It's gritty, it's dirty, it's gross. There's talk of the strikes when it comes to land management and waste management that happened all the time in New York back in those days. Crime ridden. It lends us to believe.
They also did a 1%er spin on it.
You're right. Yeah, I was just about to mention that. You're absolutely right. What do you mean by that? By 1%er?
Well, yeah, just the social class separation.
Totally.
And there was, and the ego.
And the cinematography
in
lends
Thomas
to that.
Wayne.
Yeah.
Thomas Wayne's ego saying, he literally calls everybody that is not wealthy a clown.
Yeah.
So
which lends to the whole psychosis.
Yeah. How does that help out?
What we end up seeing, and spoilers again, what we end up seeing is...
Spoiler alert.
Right?
Spoiler alert.
Thank
spoiler
you.
alert.
Thank you. God, you're better than the soundboard.
Not really.
What we end up seeing is Arthur Fleck's degradation, and he does not start out with any aces up his sleeve. This character comes from a history of abuse, comes a history of mental illness, and one thing that we touched on before that's really smart about how they play this character is that he suffers from an actual form of not dementia, but actual form of it's close to Tourette's, where he can't help but laugh at inappropriate times.
I would call it. Did they call it a social disorder?
I think so.
I think they called
it. But there's
a
technical term for it. It actually exists.
Yeah. So.
A form of schizophrenia, maybe.
No, plethora of mental illnesses. Blah blah blah. Ultimately, though, there's a card that he hands a female. Bus passenger after
because he doesn't have a car, he has to ride the
funny
bus.
Faces with a young child. She reprimands him for leave my kid alone type scenario, and then he's so uncomfortable with that interaction that he starts laughing uncontrollably and hands her a card saying, "I apologize. I have a mental or not a mental illness. I have a condition." Where I laugh uncontrollably that doesn't match my emotions.
Yeah, it's really cool how they're able to write that into the situation, and the way that Joaquin Phoenix...
And we get to explore that with her through her eyes, which I thought was really cool. He never explains it himself. The
audience we were all that woman on the bus. This movie made you feel
weird,
so uncomfortable. And what's really good is that, like, you're right, Andrus. I was wondering when the silver lining was going to pop up, and we're actually going to start feeling for this person as being kind of like the anti-hero or something like that. We never felt that way.
I can certainly feel bad for what his situation is, and
him, right?
and the condition that he has, and his upbringing and all of that. But because there's no remorse once he crosses lines, I think that's where we get the whole sociopath, psychopath. Situation.
Yeah, it's interesting, and the way that Joaquin just plays it, I mean, you can see the pain on his face when he goes through and starts having these laugh attacks, and how he forcibly tries to make himself stop, and he does this really good job of being able to personify the pain that his throat's in, because it happens all the time and he can't help but do it. They make this part of like the monster isn't the mental illness, and they play with that in a way that's so smart. You have the capability to be able to feel sorry for Arthur Fleck, but it's his ownership of his own psychosis, I think, and he's responsible for
so many things.
There's a lot of things, and we're talking about a lot. And
because if I was going to argue what the cause was, it was the system failing him.
Like, you could say that, but he's
in
one
every way.
It did
starting
fail him in
with
every
childhood.
way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, literally.
So
the system, if you want to call the system, it like.
Yeah, let's count it down.
Starting with childhood traumas.
Yeah,
with his mom
spoilers all around, guys. So
with his mom not being able to
he
caretake and get abused by the relationship that they, she was in with
it makes me
person.
feel so sorry for him. But towards the end of the movie, it's crazy.
Many things, but basically, the government shuts down his social worker.
Right.
Department, the
counselor or whatever.
Yeah. Whatever. They kill her department, which that's the only way that he's been able to obtain his medications for everything that he's going through.
Mm-hmm.
And because he goes off of his medications, he doesn't have the baseline that allowed him to be a productive member of society in a way.
Right.
He makes a lot of really
bad decisions. But
look
at what he's dealing with.
That leads him to where he is. But everybody's helping him make those decisions too. He didn't buy the gun. A gun was given to him.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a really good way to summarize a lot of it. But
he didn't ask to be assaulted. He was just trying to rescue the board that he was spinning for his job.
Mm-hmm.
So on and so on and so on. There's so many things.
There's so many things. One of the, I think I found that it's wow. It's
try to say that. Where's the phonetic?
I don't think I can. Let me see if I can find it on Wikipedia.
Oh man, I was almost there.
You were almost there. Sorry. PBA is the acronym for it, and it stands for
pseudo-bulbar effect,
which
or
is
emotional incontinence.
I
can read.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
Go ahead, Mike.
It's okay. You go. It's characterized by uncontrollable episodes of crying and or laughing or other emotional displays. PBA.
Which he did very clearly.
It did very well too. His job is to fake this real disorder that unfortunately people are stricken with. It's a real thing that people deal with. But he did it in such a way that allowed us to.
Do you know what I thought was so lovely about it?
What was that?
Is how disconnected he was when everybody else was laughing.
Well, what do you mean?
And he wasn't.
Oh, you mean like in the club when he was trying
to
explain that scene for us?
So
what's going
on? There's a scene where first off he wants to be a stand-up comedian.
Right.
So he's got a notebook with all of his jokes in it that he does an open mic night.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where we see him completely bomb, but before we see him completely bomb, we see him listen to another stand-up comedian that's getting a lot of laughs, and he's taking notes.
Right. He's not stealing jokes.
He's just taking notes on what works and what doesn't. But what happens in that scene is everybody else is laughing at the jokes, and he's deadpan, right. Almost like so focused on what he's doing.
He's not laughing at the punchline.
But then he laughs in between.
Yeah.
The audience laugh. So it's completely awkward and
disjointed.
As the viewer, you feel how uncomfortable that moment is. But he laughs in the moments where it's not the social norm.
Right.
And he's not laughing when everybody else is.
So what made me feel most uncomfortable about the film were moments like that. Like the violence was hardcore and it was disturbing.
Oh my goodness!
But I mean, that's you come to this movie expecting that. You shouldn't expect any different. But what really made me twist in my seat was seeing this guy who's trying to make a connection, who's already fighting these different challenges as to deal with PBA, with child abuse, with financial problems. He loses his job, with people just being very cruel to him. And you see him try and fail so horribly. And then you see it starting. You see him starting to make sense of the chaos, to start looking forward to that space at the bottom of the stairs where he can just be he can fight back. And the way in which he fights back in true Joker fashion, true Arkham fashion, is violently, is bloody, and the realism that they put forth in regards to how they handled his awakening to become the Joker when he takes a pillow and very stoically kills his own mother.
Well, is that where you think it happened?
I think that's where it happened specifically, yeah. Because he found out that he was adopted and he wasn't this good son.
See, I don't think that's when it happened.
When do you think it happened? When do you think it started?
It happened on the train with his French fry.
No, I disagree. Yeah, okay. I feel you.
Do you disagree there?
I do disagree. Okay. Like, that was the start of the legend because obviously he kills the 3 Wall Street guys and that starts his infamy, but I think he's too scared to realize it. I think that...
Well, what I mean by that, let me elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, go right ahead.
What does he do at the end of it?
That's true. He finds a secluded bathroom and he dances.
He celebrates.
You're right.
He celebrates. He embraces who he is in that moment. And that's why I would argue that that's the instigating moment. That's the first life that he takes intentionally.
You're right.
Or is it?
Because he's defending himself.
Well, because we actually don't see him. Did he pummel to death the person in the alley? And I think that was before, wasn't it? Or was that after?
You're right. We got to jump into this.
I don't know what that timeline was. Was it?
Yeah, I think it was before.
Okay.
We got to talk about that though because
we don't actually see it until you see that little foot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was so creepy.
What?
I thought he was beating up the dumpster.
Yeah. No.
It was a person.
Maybe, yeah.
Sorry, spoilers everywhere. Spoilers.
That's one thing that we really have to start paying attention to though when it comes to this movie because they use these simple effects to really show us and reveal the psychosis of Arthur Fleck.
Right.
There are these scenes that come in where you think he has a girlfriend, to realize that isn't the case. There are these, how can I put it? Not cliffhangers, but these questions all throughout the movie. Did he kill this person? Because we actually don't see him go through and wring the life out of people. You just see him in the same room as a particular person. And then he leaves, and you never see that person again. He could argue maybe they're still alive or not. The last scene where he's walking out of the room, he definitely killed that woman, but it isn't until the reveal that comes up where you see the bloody footprints leading around, and then the comedic part where he's running away from the nurses. Yeah. Todd Phillips does such an incredible job of just using displacement of scene that allows you to decide for yourself what happens. Yeah. But he doesn't do it in a way that leaves such a big amount for you to fill as an audience member that it's a pain in the neck, which you and I have talked about before. We both hate it when a movie doesn't do its job to the point that, we have to fill in the blanks so much that we're doing that more than
during the movie.
During the movie, we have to justify the decisions that are made. It's a pain in the ass.
It is. Going back to what your comment was about his mom.
How dare you?
I know. I'm going to. I think that's him.
You think he's already switched by that time?
Well, I do, but I didn't want to discount your comment on it because I think that that's also setting himself free from any ties.
No restrictions at that point.
No restrictions.
Right. He doesn't have to take care of his mom anymore.
Before he was confined in a way.
Yeah.
And I think from that moment forward, he was not.
He loved her so much. But then when he goes through and goes back to Arkham Asylum and finds her history, because she was a patient there.
That was so well thought out.
It was really well thought out.
I love the story in this one. The story was incredible.
The story structure was great. It explained what was going on. It had a wonderful tie-in right back to the regular lore. We see Bruce Wayne's parents getting shot at the end because of a riot.
Spoiler, sorry guys, but you know it's coming.
Yeah,
Come on.
It's coming.
What you don't see coming is his interaction with young Bruce.
No.
And that was one of the creepiest, most disturbing moments that wasn't violent.
He just wanted to learn more about his little half brother. There's
Stop
nothing wrong with
it.
that. What happened? What happened? Tell people what happened.
I'm not going to tell them what happened. I'm going to leave that one open.
Are you sure?
Because Because one, let's let that mystery be what the mystery is. Go watch it. But two, it was
such an invasion of privacy.
Not just that. There's an exchange on one side of the Wayne Manor gates, through the gates with young Bruce that is so innocent.
Yeah.
which is why it was so creepy.
So dysfunctional.
Because here you have this guy okay, I'm going to explain it. You have this guy doing magic tricks. In a way, it's like a candy lure.
Right.
And
what's the reason as to why he's even there?
A child.
There's a reason why he's there,
but it's so uncomfortable because you don't know what his intentions are.
Exactly.
You don't know if he's going to kill this child.
Exactly.
You don't know if he's going to harm the child.
Right.
You don't know if he's just going to try to befriend him.
Right. And that's what's so great about
because, by the way, the guys, I love the setup that they set up the idea. I'm not going to say whether or not it's valid. It's not.
Right.
The idea that young Bruce Wayne is Arthur's half brother through an interaction with Mama.
And we're not going to tell you whether or not he really is or.
So at least. Because of that setup, I don't think that you're sketched out that there's going to be any assault of any kind.
Right, but at that point, we already know he's
because he's looking for family. He's looking for a place to belong.
Yeah, they don't turn him into a real monster until the end of the film, but they do it so well. You always have a point of empathy with him. And then during the last act, you're like, "Oh, this dude's a fucking monster." Excuse my language, but
and it's true though. He is in this. And did you have the same experience that I did? Once all of the makeup was on, I lost Joaquin.
Yeah, totally.
And I almost had little flashes of all of the other Jokers.
Yeah.
Through the history of time.
It's an homage. It really is.
It really was, because I saw Heath Ledger in there a lot.
Oh, absolutely. And that was
was really interesting to me, because I completely lost Joaquin in there.
Yeah.
Which means he did such a terrific job.
That brought up a big part of the discussion that we were having outside the film, because after the film was over, because as soon as it ended, we were waiting on the credits, and we were talking about it this brings up a point of contention. Who has the better Joker? Heath Ledger. We mentioned before recording, Mark Hamill is a pretty good Joker. But
shout out, Mark.
For real.
Luke Skywalker was the Joker. Are you kidding me? I love it.
If you don't know, now you do.
Yeah.
But Phoenix's Joker is ridiculously good.
Yeah, and he's got such strong competition throughout the years. I mean, I really think that Jack Nicholson was my first experience in the world of Batman and Joker together.
For sure.
Because I don't even remember reading comics when I was younger, so I'm not sure if I even had context other than there's a superhero, and Michael Keaton did such a great job.
But those movies proved that superhero movies is such important. It's such an important point in movie making. Man. I'm so flustered about this whole movie, everybody. I can't even speak clearly.
No articulation.
Exactly. There is a valid argument that those movies, the first Batman movies, really proved that comics could be used as a serious point of creation for motion pictures. It was. Everybody knows that we have these huge tropes that come in the comic books of past and present, and how they go through and they reflect the usual thing that we all look for in our stories: the hero's journey, the true villain, this and that. But how do you make that, which is a story as old as the test of time, profitable? And those first movies with Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer and everybody proved that as long as you did it with enough flash and enough seriousness, but also mix it with a proper amount of melodrama, it could become a potential for profit for studios.
Yes, but I think that was also done before that.
When?
I think that's the first Batman. No, Superman, come on.
Oh, I guess.
Oh, I guess?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess?
I mean, I'm
going to argue that one big time.
Okay. I mean, I can see your point, but Superman was never as big as Batman. I think it's because just the way that the character goes through and people can see themselves as Batman and Batwoman more than they can as Superman, because Superman's an alien.
Oh, is that your argument?
I think so.
Oh, is it?
There's a psychology behind it. There's a psychology behind it, for sure.
I guess.
But I understand where you're coming from. If we're talking about the first of first, I mean, Superman was probably going to be the one to take it.
I don't even know what the first one was. Well, I think it was probably Superman.
I think it was probably Superman. That's talking about the kind of.
But I mean, back in the TV shows, we had Adam West.
That's true.
We also had what was George's name? Superman George.
Superman George.
George Reeves.
George Reeves? I don't know.
Or George Reeve. Christopher Reeve.
Christopher Reeves?
George Reeves. I can't remember which one.
No, it's Christopher Reeves. You're right.
Right. So, no, George is what I'm saying.
Oh, wait, from the black and white stuff.
Come on, man.
Hey, man. I
pull it up on the IMDb.
I just like...
IMDb me.
I just like seeing you hang, trying to think of names and everything, because it makes me happy. Hold on.
Yeah, it is George Reeves. And it's Christopher Reeve.
Right.
Singular.
Yep. He was born in 1914. That's intense. But back
50s TV. So it was TV.
Yep.
So Batman and Robin was also TV, right?
Yeah. But you're right. George Reeves in the Adventures of Superman, spanning from 1952 to 1958. That was the first. It was totally the first.
Right.
So Superman as a character, okay. You get the medal for being first for sure.
Well, no, I wasn't arguing that so much. I know. It was just the idea that you could take a comic and then make it profitable.
Yeah.
I think you have the Trailblazers, and then I don't know what Superman net profited.
No.
But Batman certainly probably blew that out of the water.
Well, especially with the Nolan films coming through. It made everybody realize that
I'm even going back to the Tim Burton ones.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? Because I remember how big of a deal it was, because that was my first Batman Joker movie.
Yeah. No, I can respect that. It's interesting how we see the evolution of this whole genre come out. And I really like it how we can encapsulate it over the past 20 some odd years and not look at Will Smith or Gemini Man, which we'll probably look at later.
Yeah, there's lots of ads coming through.
Oh boy. But I mean, there's an argument for how far this medium can be pushed. And I think that it's really interesting to see this take on it with the Joker about it going hardcore serious. It's even going more hardcore than the Christopher Nolan films, because we had
right.
murder, we had violence, we had all that stuff in that particular set of films that were coming about, and it was a way in which we could take this character even more seriously, and more importantly, studios could take it more seriously. But now we have Todd Phillips' creation here coming through, and it is so dark, and such a study in thrillers and crime drama, and just a character study as well. This is a very competent film that's going to be studied for a while, and it's taking a comic book character and putting him in the spotlight.
Right. There's a lot of interesting things about this movie.
Trying to find where Batman came through on Tim Burton. What do you think was probably one of the most surprising things that you saw from this particular film?
One of the most surprising. That he let someone go.
Yeah?
Yeah, that he let someone go.
Explain that scene. Why don't you go ahead? Oh,
no.
Come on. This is spoilerific.
I can't spoiler everything. No.
Okay.
But he let someone go.
Yeah.
And maybe even two parties. Because I don't know if his neighbors were let go.
Yeah. His love interest, actually, the thought was going to be.
See, I'm trying to be all incognito, and then you're just going to bring it all up.
It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea.
So it was one of the spoilers that I will. 89,
I found Batman.
Right?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, 89 makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But his love interest, you come to find out that that he's fabricating this entire relationship out of one exchange that they shared in an elevator. Which bodes the question, do you think that exchange even happened in the elevator?
No, I don't think it happened at all. But
you don't think that she existed at all?
I think that she existed, but I don't think that exchange in the elevator happened.
I do. I don't think the secondary exchange happened.
Because it never gave you a scene where you saw him in it, but she wasn't in it.
So
that makes sense.
So here's the thing,
that
right?
makes sense.
So we see them right up in the elevator. The door opens. They both exit.
Yeah.
That's when he instigates his fantasy, I think, is when he says, hey, and they turn around and she smiles at what he does.
Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right now.
I don't think he had
any real
exchange other than they shared an elevator ride.
Man, that blows me away a little
Doesn't
bit.
it though?
It does.
I know.
And then like the next time that you see that you can be sure that she actually really is in the room with him. Is when he invades her apartment.
Right.
And now we don't know if he killed her or not.
Right. And that's the biggest question there. I don't think he does.
Yeah.
But so that would make me guess that there were 2 victims that he did actually let go. Maybe 3 if we're counting her little girl.
The original budget for Tim Burton's Batman was roughly $35 million, and it grossed over the U.S. $251 million and change. So
not bad.
Just not bad, especially for 89 numbers.
89 numbers is huge because this one was done for $55 million.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
no. So you know that was big money.
That
back
initial
then.
investment.
That was big money back then. And thank God for letting us have that experience in the 89, 90 time frame.
I think that it's something that we really need to explore a bit more when it comes to the way, though, in which, going back to the Joker, how we could see these 2 professionals work really well together. Todd Phillips, surprisingly enough, does an incredible job of being able to capture these little vignettes that are very simple, but also able to tell us these switches in the character so very, very competently, but without the use of special effects or any of the buzzes and whistles. It's strong writing is what it is.
Yeah.
It makes sense that we have this person who may be dealing with a form of schizophrenia, or maybe dealing with depression or some sort of PTSD, that he would see things that aren't really there. And the way in which Phillips explores that by having these scenes where he's speaking with his love interest and then replaying those scenes verbatim, but just taking her out of the picture, is just this really simple way of being able to show people that Joaquin Phoenix's Arthur Fleck is losing it, and that he's falling down into this pit as the movie progresses. And that's a really disturbing journey, but it's also a really interesting one.
What was your favorite visual?
I loved it when Arthur was in full Joker makeup, and he had just gotten past the 2 detectives who were looking for him, who started a mini riot on the subway. And he's walking down this tunnel underground in the subway, and you see these lights pop up that are in the background. They're just fluorescent lights, and you see this look on his face, and you realize that the butterfly has come out of its crazy cocoon. He's ready to perform and he's ready to kill, and we see that's what happens towards the end of the film. At that point, I realized that from that, it was maybe the last 20 minutes. I realized that as violent and as strange and as awkward as the movie had been, it was going to get even more so. The crazy part, the psychotic part of the Joker was going to show.
I have so many honorable mentions. There were so many great moments. There's the moment in the bus that reminded me, strangely enough, of Shape of Water.
I'm not familiar with it.
So in Shape of Water, you see the main character lean her head on the window of the bus.
Are we talking raining. M. Night Shyamalan?
No. The Shape of Water was Guillermo del Toro.
Okay.
The one that won the Academy Award for Best Picture.
Holy crap! We talked about this movie. Oh my gosh.
Shape of Water, man. Come on.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Okay.
You're thinking of M. Night Shyamalan, Lady in the Water.
Lady in the Water. That's what I'm thinking of.
I don't know.
We talked about this movie.
M. Night, I do love you.
Yeah.
I don't love all of your movies, but I do appreciate what you do.
But I know exactly the scene that you're talking about.
Yeah. So there's the scene in the bus where you have.
I'm going crazy. I see the Joker and I'm going crazy.
You have the cityscape driving by.
Yeah, it's raining and everything.
It's just a very, very beautiful telling shot with kind of his loneliness and who he is in the city. I love the dance on the staircase.
Yeah.
That's shown in the poster. I think that was terrific. But my favorite, and it just spoke so much to me as far as the character was after he's kind of embraced who he is before he does the most violent murder in his apartment, I suppose you could say it, the most graphic, was when he painted his face white, and it felt like that was his true face.
Yeah, I love
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I absolutely do.
Because it felt like it felt like he peeled away
He's taking
his mask.
He's taking his mask off.
And yes, his face off. if we can go Nick Cage on it.
There were a lot of birds in that movie.
He took his face off. Face
when you go, I can't do Nick Cage. I can't do him very well. I have to work on that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on that one too. But
there was at least one.
Just freak out for you.
One too many doves in that movie.
Yeah.
One too many doves.
Stop. Okay. So, but I really did feel like he shed all of his layers when he put on his base makeup.
Yeah.
Before he put on his full face.
I want to know where he got that suit.
I love that they didn't do like the scars. Kind of like what they did.
Yeah.
With
well, they paid homage to it though, right?
They did.
Well, wait.
They did.
That begs the question.
They paid like they didn't take it because his scars are internal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
God, that's
and I know,
that's a great
and that's what I'm
way.
saying.
That's
I'm just
great.
like, there's so many
That's a
cherries
great
in
way to
there that
talk
I
about
really
it.
appreciated. I really appreciated the depth of this movie.
Yeah, yeah. You have to watch it. You have to watch it more than once to see all the little things, all the smart little
And Joaquin really
touches.
creeps me out, so I'm really glad that he got this role because he did it so much justice.
The scene,
and the vulnerability that he has in most of the scenes where he needs it,
absolutely,
is just beautifully done.
And then just to have a switch to a brutality that you're not used to seeing from somebody who's frail. This character, and you hit the nail right in the head when you're talking about the way in which the Joker's been personified in the past. He's not a big guy. He's not a buff guy. He's not a monster. He's this thin, capable, smart, psychotic force that knows how to wield chaos.
And can take a beating.
Absolutely.
So if you put him up against Batman,
he'll be able to take it.
He'll be able to take the beating.
But he'll be able to react too.
Right.
And just the way in which we see so much power coming off of this broken person, and the way in which this power is used for destruction is just so interesting to me. I looking back and seeing how uncomfortable it made me.
I just replayed a scene in my mind, and it was really funny. The exchange with the two police officers. And and then he walked into the door, the exit only.
Yeah, it's great.
Like there were some really funny.
Let's talk about that too.
Moments.
Todd Phillips is a comedian. He's a comedic writer. We're talking about The Hangover. We're talking about Old School. We're talking about all these incredible films that made people laugh at these really extreme circumstances. And I'm still a huge fan of Old School. I mean, it's one of these things that I consider a guilty pleasure because it was just so funny.
Earmuffs.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Earmuffs.
Exactly.
There's a lot of quotable quotes.
Frank the Tank, that was me.
Earmuffs.
But like here, we see it doesn't choke the film for its seriousness.
Right.
The comedy is placed in such these such strategic
places because what happens right after that?
Chaos, death, destruction,
all of it.
And he's honorable to the character. Todd Phillips is a fan of the Joker, no question whatsoever. He's honored this character so very well.
And one of these days I'm gonna try to stand up and see if I can bomb as bad as Arthur.
Anybody who wants to go to the Wise Guys downtown in Salt Lake and go to their open night, which I think is still on Wednesday nights, just watch the scenes where Joaquin Phoenix is losing his shirt on stage, and you won't feel bad about how badly you're going to bomb.
Right. Because
nobody
I'm actually
going to
do his stand-up routine. I am going to learn it, and I am going to do it.
Can I be in the audience and just laugh when everybody is quiet or something? Or something like that.
Yeah, that sounded like a penguin laugh. That's good.
I'm better at penguin than Joker, for sure.
That was like a hybrid. That was wonderful.
Well, thank you.
That made me happy.
We have to talk a little bit about how the violence has been, especially on social media, and the real world has been.
So talk to me about the social media because I've been avoiding it.
So what a lot of people have been talking about is because Batman movies, ever since the very unfortunate time when there was a public shooting in Denver when one of the Christopher Nolan films was taking place, there have been a lot of trolls, maybe some people who have to be taken seriously. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert. That have said that seeing as this movie is violent, that it would inevitably incite more violence. People are worried about people using this as an excuse.
They could have said that about Suicide Squad. They could have said that about what was Hollywood?
Yeah. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Violence is violence.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you.
I'm sorry if you're gonna bring up business with violence. Let's talk about video games. Let's talk about comic books. Let's talk about
which have all been proven do not promote violence amongst people.
News coverage.
Absolutely.
And the repetition of the news coverage.
Right.
I mean, just the repetition alone is enough to make somebody go a little bit bonkers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's something that you and I both agree upon.
So,
But you can't disregard the fact,
but I think that they're all very, very good things for some people that it ends up being an outlet.
Yeah.
Because they don't go and do it.
There's just there's a lot of controversy that popped up because it was a combination of people going through, and you have people on one side of the argument saying that, this is promoting violence and we don't want another problem that was happening when some poor individual uses that as an excuse to shoot people in another theater. There have been people who have been using that terrible, terrible circumstance as a joke on Twitter and whatnot, saying that, hey, wow, another Batman movie, I'm going to use it as an excuse to get a shotgun. Or something.
Are you
like
serious?
That. Yeah. There have been people who have been either
Why
joking about it or not.
Why are people terrible?
I don't know. But the fact that there are...
Everybody, that's nothing to joke about, okay?
Absolutely.
Listen to me. I'm telling you right now, that's
nothing
to joke about.
Nothing at all.
Nothing to joke about.
But that's the point of the controversy, where you have
that makes me sad.
Where you have a piece like this that is using violent themes to propagate its story, that is basing its cinematography around another violent movie. I mean, it does have some synonymous points with Taxi Driver, the Scorsese film that we talked about before. And unfortunately, you're going to have people who are saying that even if people are using that as a joke,
air quotes, right?
It's enough to take it seriously, and that people should, based upon these bad apples, whether we can take them seriously or not, we should boycott this film. And that's the big argument about it. It's people who are on the side of the argument where you and I stand, I believe, we're in agreement, where art is something that is supposed to propagate thought, it's supposed to propagate feelings, but you shouldn't be limiting it because of fear. I mean, nobody wants to see anybody go through what happened in Denver again during the showing of a movie in this universe. Nobody does.
Yeah,
but we can't stop making movies either. And this is a good movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I don't know how to respond to any of that, just because the majority of people know the difference between good and bad.
Yeah.
So That one's just a really tough one for me.
I can respect that.
Yeah,
I think it's good that we're honest with the people who are listening to us, and we're honest with each other that we can talk about where we stand on the issue. And I think it's interesting how, I mean, honestly, it has. You can't argue. Well, you can't argue, but this controversy has put people in the seats. I mean, it's been good for the revenue. I mean, actually, it absolutely has.
Absolutely.
Any what's the saying? Gosh, I can't even think of it right now. What is it? Any news is good news, but not news. Any press is good press, regardless if it's good or bad.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. I think that it brings up conversations, but I don't know that bad press could ever be good press.
Yeah.
But...
well, apparently the critic police believe you.
Yeah, I can hear the critic police right now. Yeah. Their sirens are raging. I just think that this is a movie. It's a comic book character.
Yeah.
It's not real. And if you can appreciate the artistry in it, is it violent? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But that's nothing new for movies. That's nothing new for comic books. That's nothing new for cartoons. That's nothing new for TV shows.
You're absolutely right.
So, why don't you just educate yourself and your children, and have open conversations about the effects of it?
Yeah.
Because I mean, once you're an adult, you have your own brain to work with.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
I have no idea what that meant.
So ultimately, really, I know you're right. You're responsible for who you are, and if you want to have the impression this movie is doing nothing but promoting violence, then fine, go right ahead.
I think it's a masterclass in acting.
I absolutely do. I absolutely agree.
I think it's a masterclass in cinematography.
Yeah, I think it's a
masterclass in
storytelling and directing. It absolutely is.
Hey, tell me what you thought about the sound design, because
I thought it was too loud.
The score. The score was stunning.
It was really stunning. It was good. Why don't we go into that? Let's go into specialities. We're getting close to the end of the podcast, so I'll jump in and talk about that.
You thought it was too loud?
I thought it was too loud, but that could have been just because
the mix or the theater.
Just the mix. It might have been the theater too, but I mean, I'm finding in my old age that I'm
Why? What do you mean?
I'm going to start wearing hearing earplugs in theaters now because things generally are just getting too loud for me.
Okay.
When it comes through and you see an ambiance that pops in, an urban ambiance is actually really easy to pull off. You don't need that much in order to fill in the sound because obviously
the sounds of New York in the 70s.
Exactly.
Or Chicago, because isn't Gotham
pick and choose
parallel?
Yeah, absolutely.
Chicago.
Well, the Nolan films were shot in Chicago,
right?
So we want to make sure that we respect that environment. And visually, it's already giving you so much that you can use. Mm-hmm. You can actually, throw on some sound beds and only worry about the specific isolated events that pop up, and that's where things get special.
Okay.
You can talk about how the sound of Joaquin going through and
the shoelace
tying. Is
that where you're going?
Oh, it was really good.
Good.
That was
great.
The
leather strip and the stretching.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And the way that the reverb played in the subways and how it was. There was.
What about the violent moments, like the sounds of bones and guts and all of that?
Nothing I haven't heard before.
Okay.
I mean, it was competent. It was really good. Not that I can talk. I'm not the sound guy on a major motion picture. You know what I mean? I know their jobs are very hard and challenging. And again, this movie was great on every level. Every level, yeah. I think. Yeah. I mean, the reason as to why I couldn't stop thinking about it is because I was disturbed so much by it because I was thinking about it because it was such a good movie. But what I really did enjoy was the way in which the sound really observed the space and the way in which it was able to respect the editing that came through. You had these quick cuts and everything sounded so compact and real. Cool. You have these huge urban environments that have the capability of being able to show so much reverb, the sounds of the lights, the way in which vocals are going to come by. And then you cut to Arthur sitting in his living room and listening to the radio and all this other stuff, which I just really respect how you can completely change the environment visually, and a competent sound team is going to be able to make that immersion, despite the dramatic change in the action, seamless.
Yeah.
And that's really what they did in regards to this movie. They had a lot to work with, and we've had that discussion before, where dependent upon the genre of a film and the environment of the film, how some soundscapes are going to be more challenging than others because you can just bury so much in the environment. And that was definitely an advantage that they had here, but the way in which they're able to switch things back and forth so seamlessly, just from an audiophile's point of view, I thought was really competent and really good.
Good.
I want you to talk for the next 10 minutes about how good of an actor Joaquin Phoenix is and how the supporting kind.
I'm not.
How dare you? How dare you?
I'm going to validate. I mean, he's Oscar nominee for sure. Is he a winner?
I will check.
I'm pretty sure he was nominated. So, wow, just the cast. The cast.
Take a minute. Take a breath.
Is so well put together. And there's going to be actors in there that you might recognize or not recognize that work with and opposite of him that I think it's just delightful.
Yeah.
If you're still looking for the awards, it's up at the top.
It's up at the top?
Yeah. Okay. And then scroll down just a touch. Keep going. There we go. Nominated for 3 Oscars.
Wow.
So,
I mean, holy crap.
So you put him with De Niro, and I think that's kind of a dream team for this project. Even though De Niro really doesn't play. In the comic books, did that character exist?
Not to my recent memory. It's possible.
Okay, yeah. If it's possible, it's possible because I'm not familiar with that character at all.
I'll admit it. We need.
No, that's fine.
Umberto Estrada.
Oh, you do have a little bit of an echo.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Well, we got to honor him,
Okay,
otherwise, he'll text us and we won't hear the end of it.
That's true. That is true.
But the subtlety of some of the characters, really.
Like I already said, Frances Conroy. I adore her.
Absolutely.
I think she is just so capable and so good.
It's mind blowing.
The newcomers that maybe aren't so newcomers. Because I believe we've got a crossover from the Deadpool universe.
Yeah.
Right? Remind me of... I don't know how to say her name. So is it...
Zazie Beetz.
Is it Zizi or Zazie or Zazie? That's my point. I don't know how to say her name, girl.
Yeah, but she was in the Deadpool.
I apologize. I believe she's Domino, right?
Yeah, she played one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. So she... girl, you're awesome.
What?
I'm just gonna tell you right now, you're awesome, girl. So there were so many things because she made it awkward enough for me to not necessarily believe his fantasy.
Right.
Because there's that moment that they share where she's rubbing his back as if they've been
together for a while.
Yeah. And I'm just like, that does not make any sense to me.
Where's her kid?
I think that she played that beautifully. Shea Wingham, dude, you're awesome.
How can we not?
I mean, there's just so many people in here that just did a terrific job.
It's amazing to me how they get like maybe 10 minutes of screen time and they still, and less than that. And they just still blow you away.
All of you Barry fans will recognize a Barry cast member.
Absolutely.
Go on to there was what's her name? The social worker. I had it in my head and now it's gone.
I'll find it for you.
But she was in Die Hard. You know what I mean? There's just
professional actors, people who have been doing it. Professional actors. I mean, that's a little redundant.
I love that we have people that you may recognize, but just don't know exactly who they are.
Yeah.
So I think it's just honestly delightful. Brett Cullen was just like such a douchey Thomas Wayne. I loved him.
Yeah, he was a really good.
Going back to your sound comment, the one that stood out for me was the bathroom scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did that for you?
Yeah, it was
in
great.
The sound design.
I think that like when it comes to, I mean, like I don't want to like come off as like the god of sound design or anything. I mean,
what?
I know, right?
But that's your expertise.
I know. I do know a couple things here and there. I have done sound for independent film. I've done sound for theater and for all this other stuff. And I like to think I have a pretty good idea when it comes to making an independent venture. What's necessary? You're working on a budget. You try to make it as big or as concise or as just as good as you can with a little bit of money. So I don't want anybody who's listening to think that, what Mike says goes, or not even give me that much credit. I'm flying from the seat of my pants like 99% of the time. So what I would love to just sit back in the background of people who are mastering this film and just take notes. I mean, it humbles me to see a piece of work like this and to know that in time maybe I'd be able to get that good at doing this kind of stuff, Yeah. But when it comes to these, again, it's a sweet scene. He's bathing his mom. And the transition, it
was so awkward.
It was so awkward.
I mean, you verbally yelped.
Yeah, I did. That's true.
I mean, if you remember.
Yeah.
I remember. Oh. Because I'm like, what?
Yeah. But
but it was also tender and loving.
Yeah, it was
so not sexual.
Exactly.
So
and then the scene switches over, and I think you get to the part where like he finds out that he's fired, and you have this huge environment where like he's in this phone booth and he's getting the bad news, and like you see the ambience of he's cracking the glass, and you hear the voice coming out of the phone of this boss that's firing him, and you have to worry about all the ambience in the background. But isn't the ambience that you would hear from the other side of the street? It's the ambience that you would hear from inside a freaking phone booth. That kind of stuff gets taken into consideration here.
It was lovely.
And I'd like to think that I'm experienced enough to know that the detail that goes into these tiny little things, God and the devil are in the details. And you have to pay attention to the smallest little things. I'm sure somebody who's behind the camera or somebody who's in front of the camera trying to memorize lines has taken into consideration. And I am here to tell all of you that if you want to see a film that cares about the little things, go see The Joker and remember what they did. It'll only make your filmmaking better because it's really just an amazing piece of work.
No, for sure.
Regardless of the fact that it's going to make you want to leave.
Shots like
it's so
everywhere.
Good.
I want to still shots everywhere.
But it also makes you want to leave the theater as soon as possible because it was so uncomfortable.
I think this wins the most disturbing movie I think I've ever seen.
Wow.
I mean,
and you saw Hostel.
Maybe
you saw Hostel in the sequels.
And those were just stupid. Sorry. No, because for me, I didn't find them believable.
I hear you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I know I'm watching a horror movie, and there wasn't a real threat of danger there for me.
Right.
It was disturbing. Do not get me wrong.
Right.
I'm not going to say that it wasn't.
But they were punching down.
But I mean, like the Saw movies didn't disturb me.
I hear you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I could separate
from it.
From it.
Yeah.
This brought me into the world, and it was terrifying and disturbing in the best possible way for what this movie is. It was wonderful.
Well, guys, really do appreciate you taking some time to listen to us yammer on about the most disturbing movie of the year. Maybe at all.
I haven't seen Midsommar, though. So we'll see.
We'll talk about that one later after we're done recording.
Maybe.
But guys, if you agree with us or if you don't, please let us know. Feel free to, drop us a line, fullfocuspod@gmail.com. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on SoundCloud. And, give us a ring. Not a ring. I mean, you can't call us, but, type out a couple things.
Phone lines are open.
We're working
digitally.
on it. We're working on it.
In the form of email correspondence or commenting.
But go see The Joker. If you like a different take on these classic characters, if you want to see what Todd Phillips is capable of when he's not doing a hardcore comedy, just go for Joaquin Mother-Loving Phoenix, man. See this movie and prepare yourself to feel weird and to deal with, some feelings that you may have not been able to deal with in a long time, because this will make you feel uncomfortable for sure.
Agreed.
But of course,
I don't know what to say to that because that's accurate for me. So I'll just agreed.
Awesome. But of course, if you guys, keep in mind after you see the movie and you don't agree with what we're saying, remember, what we always say. We may be wrong, but it's your job to tell us. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. We'll see you again soon.
Ciao.
Bye. Stop it!